welcome to
another episode of Tools at Tea Time
On Tuesdays.
with Tim and Anna.
Welcome, everyone. We're very happy to have you. And for our SEL moment, we're going to have a very serious, very special poll. So right now, you need to think about what your present holiday state of mind is. Maybe you are like Grumpy Cat and you're going dashing through the
Anna, I
milk.
don't think we can see it. Wait.
Oh,
Can everybody see Anna's screen? Oh, they can see it. Okay, sorry about that, Anna. I didn't mean to
oh my
interrupt.
goodness. Thank you. All right. Or maybe you need some coffee, like the highly caffeinated Grinch. Or maybe you are like the elf who is chilling and watching some Hallmark movies. Or your choice, we're going to do a poll, so that would be your choice. Maybe you really like the idea of gingerbread fails, add dinosaur. So here we go. We are going to launch. All right, do you guys see the poll?
Yes.
Go ahead and pick the one that you think matches your holiday state of mind.
Oh, Anna, it's a close race. You and I can see it. We'll reveal the results in a minute.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's go another 10 seconds. And here we go. End poll. And let's share the results. And do you see the results, Tim? Because I don't.
Yes, I do. Yeah, this has happened to us before. The gingerbread house fall, the one about when gingerbread falls add dinosaur, it won. So it got 40% of the vote, and then closely followed by 20%. It was a tie between Grumpy Cat, Hyper Caffeinated Grinch, and Chilling Elf on the Shelf. Those are all fun, Anna. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, you know what? I think it doesn't matter what I do.
Yeah, you did it right. You did it right. And you guys can see the results, I think. Yeah, they're all shaking their head.
Well, I really like the gingerbread add dinosaur. I think I totally would do that. I can see myself doing that with my grandson. Oh, let's just grab a dinosaur and he's eating the house now. All right. So, Tim, do you want to tell people what our roadmap is going to be today?
Yeah, you all have been on this road with us for a while, and so you know that we have this kind of flow to things. So we're going to read our fan mail for the week to set the theme, and then we'll introduce our very special guest, Laura, who's here. And at the end, we'll have time to kind of talk to each other and share out in a community kind of check-in that will be a breakout session.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. So let's go to our email from our imaginary fan. And Tim is going to do the honors today because look who came to see us.
Oh my gosh, not him, not Buddy the Elf. You guys, it's almost Christmas. I love Christmas. The other thing I also love is learning. So how are you making things easy, especially for SPED students to learn remotely? Wait, did I tell you? I love Christmas and Santa. I do. So, yes. Funny you should ask, buddy. We're going to be talking about SPED students and how we can make this learning experience remotely better for them. That's our theme for the week.
That is our theme for the week. And we have a special guest today, a good friend of mine and an awesome educator, Laura Gold. She's the special educator coordinator and the child find coordinator with St. Vrain School District. So Laura is going to be doing some sharing right now, which means I'm going to stop sharing in case you want to share, Laura, but it is all yours right now.
All right. Well, welcome. Thanks everyone for having me. It's great to be a part of this. Like Anna said, we are good friends, and I'm honored that she would ask me to talk about how we're supporting special education students in this world of COVID and remote learning and hybrid learning and the back and forth that we're all dealing with. So a little bit about me. This is my 18th year in education. I began my career teaching middle school special education, fresh out of college. I have a degree in special ed and elementary ed, and taught for about, let me think, I think it's like 7 or 8 years. And then decided to become a general education teacher because I really wanted to see that perspective of what we were kind of asking general education teachers to do with those students that had those special needs in the classroom. And so I taught 3rd grade with Anna, and we were on the same team, and then moved to 4th grade. And after that, I got my administrative license and became an assistant principal, which I loved, being at the building level, and kind of just a turn of events. One thing led me to another, and I had a friend encourage me to apply for this position of being a special education coordinator, where in my current role, it's similarly treated to an assistant director of special education. But I have been a coordinator for the past 6 years in this role in the St. Vrain Valley School District, which is just north of Denver. We house about 34,000 students. About 4,100 students have IEPs. There are 5 of me, so I don't do the district job all on my own. I have great teammates, and which kind of leads me to our tool today. All of us we currently started the year remote. We went back into a hybrid model, and we're now back to remote. So we hope to get back to some kind of a hybrid model in the fall, but currently we're not bringing in really any special education students to receive any services. And so the tool that I wanted to share with you today, to give you a little bit of a background around it. So when we kind of kept switching, and when we knew we were going to start remote, there was a lot of anxiety and angst around how do we meet those special education needs for all of our students, even though we had had a lot of training in teaching in that online world with schedules and, strong platforms and pieces like that. And so I just want to share this tool with you that I cannot take any credit for. I did not develop it, but I have a great team of instructional leaders, instructional coaches around me, and really awesome teachers that have just kind of taken this, I guess what we would all call a new normal, but it's not normal. So taking it all on and really been awesome with it. So let me share my screen, and what is happening here? Here we go.
Let us know if we can help.
Yeah, it's not showing.
Are you seeing a green button at the bottom that says share screen? And then when you click on it, there'll be several different windows available.
Okay.
And you want to kind of find the one that looks like your document that's open and click on that one.
Maybe it's
is it in a is it online, or is it?
It is, yeah, it's in its own browser.
Oh.
Oh, and it's going to kick me out. That's awesome.
Oh, that's all right. We're all teachers. We know how to punch.
Totally.
We're not going to start throwing spit wads at you, Laura.
No, you're fine. I think it's probably because I closed my drive and it's mad about that. So hold on 1 second. Can you guys see me navigating my screen or no?
No, we can't see it yet.
No. All right. Hopefully it will work here.
Yeah,
Notice
let me know. I can share too. I have it open, but I think you want to drive.
Yeah. Okay. So let me try to share again. We use.
Notice how we're using the growth mindset there, Laura. We can't see it yet.
Me too. It's so weird. It's just not letting me. I'm in basic. I even looked at advanced. No. Allow Zoom to share your screen. I feel like I had this happen a couple of weeks ago on something that I was trying to do.
Yeah, and I realize most of you guys aren't using Zoom because your school district won't let you use Zoom. So
Anna, do you want to share it? Sorry, I'm not.
I will share. And how about you tell me?
Sure.
where you want to
Yeah.
go.
So
You get to tell Anna where to go, Laura.
yeah, it'll be great. Yeah, thank you. This will help a lot. So this is accommodations in the remote classroom, and it's kind of an option menu. And so all of these people at the top here in September, again, like just weeks after we had started school, these are all teachers and professionals that work in the St. Vrain Valley School District. So again, my name is not even on here, but I have to tell you, they're like some of the best, and they're amazing. And we just love what they do for us. And so if you scroll down, basically these were all, everybody came together. And if you click on any of these are a lot of accommodations that you see in IEPs. And it was a group of people that just kind of came together to say, what do I do? And that was the cool thing about it. The perspectives of all of the teachers in the group had lots of different things that they use to provide accommodation. So you'll see some of those students with movement breaks. This is the one Anna hooked up to. Anna, will you go to like the behavior? I think it's supporting behavior in a remote classroom.
Behavior reinforcement system?
Yeah, behavior reinforcement system, because it's kind of a cool one. So, you guys are on Zoom, kids are kind of crazy. Sometimes that's in your control, out of your control. Families are hard. I think we're hearing from a lot of parents around, online is just too hard, and I can't get them to do anything, and they don't want to do anything. And so if you kind of look at this, so that menu basically took you to all of those, it was bookmarked to take you to all those different pieces. Sometimes they work, but I think sometimes as educators, we get stuck in the mindset of like, what else can we try? And so I kind of like the behavior reinforcement one, because I know that's one that probably a lot of us are dealing with being in an online setting. And so the visual sticker chart is pretty cool. And you can use that in Google Slides. And so, of course, you're going to need access. Yeah. Yeah. See if it'll go on yeah, it could be because I had access to it. I apologize. So if you want to go back, and we can kind of just scroll down and talk about it a little bit, but creating a digital token board with Google Slides. Some of these might be helpful for some of your special education teachers. If you don't teach special education, some of it might be helpful for you just in the general education realm. I think the focusing on that, the class reward, because you guys are so far in distance from kids, like what can we earn as a class that could be something that kids could partake in or celebrate. And so just simple, like a dance party, a game party. Before you guys all jumped on, we were talking about how Anna had done something with her dog, and like the reinforcement of that was so awesome, and kids like remember that piece with it. And so letting kids bring their pet to their Zoom class, that might be a little crazy, but it could work, on a Friday. The other one I really like on here, Anna, if you scroll down just a little bit, is the PBIS system. And so if you click on that, hopefully it will open. Again, that wasn't taken from us, but it was a copy of kind of PBIS for remote instruction. But what I loved, I think on one of the, like page 4 or 5, Anna, it really outlined the behaviors. Yeah, right here. So like in an elementary setting, what do your PBIS, and a lot of you probably use it in your own buildings, but what are those areas, and what does it look like in this remote setting? So what does it look like when you're entering the class? So you have everything on mute, you have your camera turned on, or maybe you don't have your camera turned on, like in a middle school setting. And so this is just a really great, this is kind of cool because it uses like their acronym, the PRIDE acronym. So using your schools and like how you can adjust. And I think sometimes as educators, we just get stuck in, well, how does this fit into this online or this remote learning environment? And so this, I think, is really cool, because even if you have it just in your class or you have it as a building, it can be really powerful. So And do you want to go back to the big accommodations one, Anna? And then maybe just scroll down a little bit. We can kind of talk about a few of them. Text to speech. All of our kids have an iPad, so that may be a little bit different, but the accessibility settings on an iPad can be really powerful too. So it doesn't have to be anything that necessarily, kind of like when we do state assessments, we have accessibility features that all kids can use. And so that can be helpful as well. Oral response can be helpful. And then, like I said, the movement breaks, there's lots of different web-based kind of pieces to use with that. We have a lot of students that are nonverbal, so their communication devices, I mean, it's like you know, it's pretty intense with the student's communication device as while their teacher is on it. I observed an orchestra teacher the other day for a student that was deaf and hard of hearing, and she kept looking and you could tell in her eyes. And I finally said to the interpreter, what was that setup like? And she said, well, she turns on one for me and then she turns on one for the teacher. And with this student, she's coming into middle school, so we're starting to you know, be able to punch out closed captioning on her tech device, and so that she can almost read the closed captioning along with the teacher who's giving the orchestra instruction. So I thought that was amazing. But this pin interpreter to the screen, they actually had a double screen. So, but you can put the interpreter on there as well. And then if you want to keep scrolling down, Anna, yeah, I think the low tech, the Google Slides can be really helpful for kids, can be really helpful for families. You guys are probably, you can see me, I do a lot with my hands, but a lot of professionals use, you know, hand signals. I observed an SLP today doing speech with preschoolers. And so she was doing thumbs up, thumbs down, you know, mom was right there. It was adorable. And so, and sometimes I will talk about the student and the para. We have given a lot of our paras training on, because we expect them to be online with kids and supporting with that. And so, you know, practicing with the para and the teacher together to be able to give that instruction to the student has been really helpful. There's just a lot in here, and it was just kind of a one kind of stop shop to at least get people's heads around how do we provide these accommodations in a virtual setting. And I think it's really been helpful to parents to discuss around what is most helpful. You know, our K through 4 uses Seesaw, our older kids use Schoology, lots of cues. I think front loading the student with expectations, those ones that we know work really well, a visual schedule, a task list, a checklist. I know my son's teacher has been kind of using a checklist, a task list, and that seems to help him. You know, as you guys know, a lot of kids turn off their video, so can you use the chat features? Yeah, so I don't know if I'm supposed to ask questions, but I'm sure you guys will have some great ideas to talk about in your breakout rooms as well. And Tim or Anna, did I miss anything or anything more that you would like for me to talk about?
Well, we just had one question from Flora. Is all this open for the public? So can they, we've put Anna, what have we put in the folder for the teachers this week?
So this is in the folder. So exactly what you're looking at, I have made a copy of it. And so once you go to the folder, you can click on the link that I put in there, and it takes you to this.
And Laura, if they click on any of those links, that like the virtual sticker board or anything, and ask for permissions, can they get permissions to
They should
use
be
those?
able to. I'll let the person who I think owns it just know. They knew that I was going to share this today, and so I'll just double check if other things come out. Or you can always reach me, and I can even give you access to it. You can reach me directly. I'm happy to help with that. So
Great. Thank you to you and them.
Yes.
yeah. Anything else?
So, well, I think you did a great job outlining most of this stuff, Laura.
Mhm.
So, what we're going to do now is we are going to be going to our breakout rooms for our community check-in. So,
Great. So here's our prompt for this week.
yeah.
While Anna's getting the breakout groups all set up, share some of your victories and struggles that you've had reaching special education students in this remote environment. Last spring, this fall, some of your victories, some of your struggles. Also think about what strategies you're using, and think about like some of the accommodations that you need to make for some of your particular students, and how these might be helpful. If you get time, you can fish through them with your partner while you're in breakout rooms, or you can just share stories with each other about successes, either ones Laura's suggested or ones you're having.
Yes. So if you happen to be in breakout room 2, if you could stay in with us so we can record the conversation, that would be great. So if you're in breakout room number 2, do not accept and just stay with us. Tracy, I don't know if you have any questions for Laura. You get like front and center. That's kind of cool.
That is all. Yeah, it is. No, I really liked that document. I think it would be extremely helpful, just because, you know, it can be overwhelming to think about what all needs to happen, just in general, but then, you know, with special education students as well. I know some of the things that you shared, like movement breaks and stuff, that's something that I do anyway, with all of my students, just because I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So, but I think having just access to a condensed list like that is really, really helpful.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too is that there's so many natural things that we do as teachers, right? That people kind of forget that that's an accommodation, or, you know, that really works for that kid. And so keeping that in mind too, I think is always tricky, because it's those natural things that I think we do as teachers that kind of can sometimes hold us up or hold the parents up of like, well, you didn't do that. Well, no, I'm not going to write that in the IEP because I do movement breaks. But I think when you have, you know, kids squirrely and antsy in their pants, you know, and maybe you don't do a movement break, it's just a good reminder that it can be really helpful. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
What grade do you teach?
I teach high school.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I think one of my biggest kind of obstacle has been just the technology just gets in the way, as far as, you know, trying to teach students how to do things on their technology remotely is
Yep.
really difficult. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, even just things like using tools in their Google Docs, you know, like how to make a circle chart using Google Sheets. So just even doing those things has been really difficult. So our school has Screencast-O-Matic, so I've been using that quite a bit, like to make videos of how to do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think the videos are helpful. Yeah, and it's interesting because we've even moved to kind of like somewhat of a video model in terms of even our PD, because, you know, to put it in a memo or to talk about it's always a lot. And so we've tried to, you know, again, put it in like a video because that seems to be a little quicker, or I feel like in a video you can get right to the point, right? You know?
Yeah.
But it does take a lot of practice. And I think that is, you know, we've had to shift and then train people. And that's definitely been a challenge for sure. Special education and general education students too. So
I think the hardest thing that as I'm thinking about it and remembering, you know, when I was teaching, I was such a proponent to technology in the classroom. And wrote grants to buy technology, buy iPads, all of that. But you have the kids right there, right? So you can sit with them and show them and engage them. I think the hard part of it is teaching them to use technology through technology.
Mhm.
That's like a no-win situation sometimes because and with high school kids, it's hard. I mean, imagine kindergarten kids, no, click here, no, click here. It's just tough. I go and I watch the teachers and they're trying so hard and the kids are, they're trying too, but it's really, really tough. It's a different language almost.
Mhm.
Until you break through that is just constant frustration.
Yeah,
Right.
and Tracy, I really think you have it right that you're moving that to asynchronous, because like okay, they can learn how to do a pie chart asynchronously, and I'm going to try to do as much asynchronously so that the time we are together synchronously can be used for things that can only be done synchronously. Like relating to each other and doing verbal tasks and things like that. So
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
Good
Laura,
test.
which accommodation that you normally have on an IEP have you found to be most challenging, sort of, to do in a virtual environment? Or
Yeah. Um, I feel like it's the communication pieces just because you expect people to communicate through this screen, right? And so if kids don't feel comfortable, it's kind of like the same way in a classroom, right? If kids aren't raising your hand, they're probably not calling on you, but you kind of want to get everybody engaged over this, device that you have in front of you. I think that the communication piece has probably been the biggest thing. Or if kids are muted, I mean, honestly, I observed this orchestra class and like 8 kids had their screen muted. I'm like, do you even know if they have an instrument? Do you even know if they're participating or they're sitting there, right? So it's like, teachers, I'm like, this is an orchestra class, let's have our violins out. No. So I was fascinated. And then I think those kids that have those communication devices such as a talker or things like that are most significant kids. I mean, it's like a 3-ring circus, and they're and the parents are trying to do the assistive tech, and the teacher's trying to teach. And so I do think the communication accommodations are like text to speech, or yeah, it's been tricky. And there are kids that just again turn off their camera and they don't want to share, and teachers want their cameras on, or teachers want them to raise their hand, or and God bless this preschool teacher today. I mean, she's like, remember, like, quiet, and the other kids talking over Grayson. And yeah, so
communication, yeah, that makes sense. For those
yeah.
of you just rejoining us, Laura was saying that I was asking her which accommodations she felt were most challenging in remote environment. She said a lot of the things around communication are challenging. So
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to share the screen again. And because we have reached the end again, my friends, and we're so thankful that Laura was able to spend some time with us, sharing her expertise in special ed and all that St. Vrain School District is doing. The episode resources are in this folder right here.
including that great tool Laura featured, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
including that cool tool. And the recording of this episode is in our website, dmns.org.
And just to let you know of a couple things coming up. First, you're going to be getting the follow-up email that we usually send with the link to the video and everything. Brad's going to be sending that out in the next few days. And it includes, for the first time in like 8 months that we've been doing the show, we have a brief evaluation. The museum's assessing what they should be doing digitally, what they shouldn't. So if you find this program useful or have any useful feedback for Anna and I, if you could just take a minute or two and fill in that evaluation, it'll be open for a couple of weeks. We would appreciate that. Second, second of all, if you've enjoyed this kind of topic, we have two 3-hour Saturday workshops coming up in January about some of the best practices in remote teaching. You know, we've learned a lot over these last 8 months, and we've dug into what the experts are finding, and it's a little less guesswork than it was back in March. And we would like to, it's going to be very interactive. We'd love to have you join us for that workshop. It's $85 for both days, and you get a certificate of hours completed that you can use towards relicensure.
Yeah, and anything that the museum puts together, you know, it's quality and awesome. I'm a total fan. So
we didn't pay her to say that.
No. I've been a fan for a long time. So thank you for spending another half hour with us. And we hope to see you again next week. It will be our very last episode of 2020. Woo! And we are going to attempt to share elementary student voices with you and how remote learning is going for them.
Great, Anna. Thanks for lining up that show. If you can advance the slide. Yeah, so that's next week's Student Voices, the elementary edition. And then finally, if you had fun, please tell your friends to join us and let us know what topics might be useful in the new year. We got some great people lined up. In fact, we got one of them on here, Robbie, who will be joining us next spring as a guest, special guest. So thanks, Robbie. And thanks today to Laura Gold for being our special guest. And until next week, you know, Buddy Elf says bye.